Where are you guys joining us from? Kansas City,
California, Colorado.
I know Drew. I believe Drew is in Colorado as well.
This is going to be an entry level webinar. We're going to do a second part, which is going to be more advanced. So if you already know the beginning stuff, you can come to the next one. It'll be much more entertaining.
All right, welcome Jeff, welcome Drew, Chris, welcome. Let's see. Are you guys able to text us?
Yeah, if you guys could put into the chat where you guys are logging in from, so that we can know that the chat is enabled, that would be great.
Are you able to see my message, Eric?
Yeah, I can see your message. I just don't know if people can reply. If you guys can reply, if you guys could try, that would be great.
Okay, I think I just activated. Let's see. You want to
chat is disabled. Okay.
Where are you joining us from? Oh, hello Jeff. All right, good, beautiful. Okay, awesome. Where are you guys joining us from? Kansas City,
California,
Colorado. I know Drew. I believe Drew is in Colorado as well. That's great. Well, welcome everybody. This is an interesting webinar about TikTok. In case you don't know who I am, my name is Ernesto. I'm the VP of Sales here at Bullseye Sellers, and I work with an amazing team of experts. For those who are unfamiliar with Bullseye Sellers, we specialize in helping Amazon sellers with a variety of services like Amazon management, which is our core service, but we also do Google Ads, Meta Ads, we build websites, and our latest offering is TikTok Shop Management.
Ernesto, 1 second. Let's let people populate. Is it possible that you can make Michael and Drew, add them to the
Michael and Drew, add them as a panelist, or
yeah, so they can join the
let me just try it out here. Okay, so Drew, I just promoted you to a panelist. Can you check? And then Michael, I do not see Mike. Oh, here it is. Here is Michael.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we're at 18 participants, so that's great.
Okay, we got Michael and Drew. All right, welcome guys. So yeah, we have our team leaders here. We have a big team of people, but 4 team leaders in Bullseye Sellers: Drew, Ryan, Michael, and then Eric, which Eric will be the one running the webinar. And between these 4 awesome people, we have over 45 years experience of selling on Amazon, and we've sold, including myself, as a matter of fact, we sold tens of millions of dollars through our own Amazon stores. And then collectively, we've helped clients who've generated hundreds of millions of dollars in sales. But more than anything, these guys are rock stars and they are amazing at Amazon. All right, so over the last year, we've been learning, testing, refining our TikTok strategies. And finally, we're proud to announce that we are now an official TikTok agency partner. Last year, we went to Vegas, and after a lot of work, a lot of follow-up, and a lot of checking up, we finally got our certification as an official TikTok agency partner. And now we're knowledgeable enough and experienced enough to be able to share great tips and tricks, so you guys can learn and take advantage of this amazing opportunity. So this is a 2-part webinar. Today is part 1 of 2, and this is what we're going to cover today. And Eric is going to have to go fast because we have a lot to cover, but don't worry, we will be emailing you the replay link, so you can, in case you need to review some material, you can do so. But we're going to cover how to properly set up your TikTok shop, how to register your trademark, creating and leading up to your logo, adding your products to your TikTok shop, adding your warehouse to your TikTok shop, setting up an app that we like to use called Silk Commerce to run your shop, review syndication, account health, and category and product restrictions. Now, if we're not able to cover all these subjects in this webinar, don't worry, we will cover them on part number 2, which we will be having in a few weeks. And also on the next webinar, we'll be covering more advanced stuff like working with creators, running ads, and a secret sauce that could make or break your TikTok shop. We'll be answering questions throughout the webinar, but at the end, we'll spend 10 minutes doing a Q&A as well. And for those of you who are looking for help with your TikTok, stay tuned till the end because we'll be sharing a special offer that you do not want to miss. If you don't have a team of expert TikToks in place, you're going to want to listen to this offer. So before we get started, I just want to go over some pretty interesting statistics about TikTok. TikTok drives sales. 67% of TikTok users say the platform inspires them to shop, even they weren't planning to. Okay, you cannot say the same for Instagram, Facebook, and other social media platforms. High engagement rate. The engagement rate is 6% for brands, which is higher than any other platform out there, social media platform. Shoppers love TikTok ads. 37% of users report that they discovered a product they love through TikTok ads, making advertising on the platform high effective for product visibility. And last but not least, power of user-generated content. 72% of TikTok users prefer to see content from real people rather than the traditional brand ads. So without further ado, let's I'll pass it over to Eric. So let's start with the TikTok shop authorization. Eric, take it away.
Thank you, Ernesto. Welcome, everybody. We're going to be going over, this is going to be an entry level webinar. We're going to do a second part, which is going to be more advanced. So if you already know the beginning stuff, you can come to the next one. It'll be much more entertaining. We're going to be going over how to set up your shop from the beginning to the part where you're going to need an agency to actually take you to the next level. However, a lot of people get stuck in getting this set up. So we're going to try to simplify this for you. And at the end, like he said, there's going to be a good offer if you would like help. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay. Can you see my screen?
It's loading. There we go. We can see it now.
Okay, great. So again, why are we having this? Because TikTok is hot. It's exploding. And that is why everybody is on this call. Everybody hears TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. And it's the statistics that actually are what make it great. There's one on here that wasn't mentioned, was that TikTok grew 400% last year. And I think that that's pretty incredible. One thing that I would like to add that I find pretty amazing is that whenever you see giants like Amazon starting to copy their trend, I think that that's a good indicator of the direction of where things are going. So if you open up your seller app and you click the second icon on the left, they actually have their own influencer channel that's built into the platform. And they're about to have a synergy with TikTok, and they've let a teaser coming out about that. But that just kind of gives you an idea of how hot it is. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is setting up your account. And so this starts with the first thing you need to do is the difference between TikTok and Amazon and Walmart, yada, yada, is that they require different documents. So the document that they want you to do is your articles of incorporation. Now, if that does not work or they deny it, keep in mind you are battling with AI. The fact of talking to a real person this day and age is very unlikely. So what you'll have to do is file a case and have supporting documents, such as maybe your federal filing, some other sort of company documents. But this is essentially the one that typically unlocks this step. So now once you get approved, obviously you're going to add some tax information as well. But this is the document that basically unlocks it. So the next step you're going to want to do is a brand authorization. And please let me know if I'm going too fast or if you do have any questions. We do have a limited amount of time, and I do want to make sure that I have an opportunity, as well as you guys, Michael or Drew. If you guys see something or you guys want to just kind of point something out that maybe was missed, feel free to jump in. Absolutely. Okay. All right, so the next step is the trademark. So now all of this is public information. I would like to thank the brand that I'm going to show. They're pre-revenue on TikTok, but they just got their shop set up. I'd like to thank Brutus and Barnaby for allowing us to show a few things. It is much appreciated, and so we're going to get into that. So everything I show is public information. So yeah, the next step is the trademark. So essentially, now this is something that you need to be aware of. So now sometimes you have a trademark like maybe your company is Sample LLC, and then your brand name is something else. In cases like that, you're going to have to file a document or some sign something that basically gives one company the right to use the other brand, and you're going to need to file that document as well as the trademark. But normally speaking, probably in a most common situation is that if you're Sample LLC, you're selling your brand as Sample LLC. So you come to USPTO. Now, this trademark has to be completed, which if you guys are been selling for a while, you remember the process. It was horrendous, but once you got through that first year, you had a certificate that was issued. Now, this is the document that they want to see. This is on the USPTO, and they want to see the original seal. Sometimes it's gold, sometimes it's not. If it does not, if you cannot, if for some reason they do deny it, you want to show some supporting documents. Again, a ticket. Remember, you're not being denied by a person. It is truly just AI. So when making a ticket, you're going to want to use sometimes showing your Amazon store, sometimes showing a letter from an attorney, some supporting documents, maybe a federal filing, something like that. And essentially that would be what would get you through this step. Do you guys have any questions about these first two things that I have gone over so far?
All clear.
All clear. Okay, sweet. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So, all right, when you get to the setting up the shop, there's a few things that you're going to want to do. First thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add your logo. And to add your logo, you're going to come up here. You're going to go to My Account. You're going to go to My Profile. And once that opens, you go to Seller Information and you add your logo right here. That is the first step that you want to do. The next step is a little bit more complicated. Up to this point, it's relatively simple and straightforward, but this next step is where there can be some issues that you run into. And this essentially is when you link your TikTok account to your shop. Now, the reasons it can be confusing.
Eric, sorry to cut you. I just saw a question here.
Okay.
From Jeff. He's saying if you can use a German trademark certificate.
So if you're going to be in the U.S. marketplace and your brand you need a U.S. trademark to sell in the U.S. Also, to sell in the U.S., you also need to have a U.S. passport or a residency or something to that effect. It's actually more extreme than Amazon. Amazon, you can be in Guatemala, you can get away with a lot of things. So TikTok is definitely harder to do. So now this step is difficult, and the reason being is literally just a glitch or kind of just the way that they do it. And what happens is you have to do a verification. This actually requires having the app, the TikTok app open, as well as the shop. So you go to link it, you will scan something with your cell phone and it'll open, and it typically could give you an error or a pop-up. And if you don't click it immediately and verify, or if there's a problem, it's going to say unverified, and it's going to give you a link to a help file, and you're going to get incredibly frustrated. So what you need to know is you need to open up your TikTok app, and you need to go to the inbox. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen from my cell phone as well, if I can. See if I can do this. Okay. I have to stop sharing on one device. 1 second. Okay. Probably should have tested this before we got onto the chat. One second.
Are you connected with a cable to your phone?
No, 1 second. Let me see if, yeah. I'm going to try to show it to you. Yeah, I apologize. Can you see my screen? Nope.
No. We can see a little bit there.
Okay, great. So on this screen, you need to go to where it says inbox at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and click inbox and then show you the next screen. So once you go to inbox, you'll have a lot of messages, of course, and I apologize for this. There'll be a lot of messages, but one of them says TikTok shop. You need to open up the TikTok shop, and there will be another place for you to essentially do the verification. So you'll get notifications that it'll say verification unsuccessful, and then I'll have an opportunity to redo it. And I apologize for the technical issues, but this is where you will find the error message. So just to recap, what you need to do is open up your TikTok from your phone. You need to go to inbox and then open up TikTok shop, and it'll say verification issue, and you can start the process there. I apologize for the technical issue. Again, should have tested that before we got on the chat. So let me go back to okay, can you see my screen again? Okay, so any questions about connecting the TikTok account? The caveat, the issue that you can run into essentially is just where they send you the error, and the ability to reconfirm is just in the inbox, and it's just not very intuitive. Do you guys have any questions on this step?
No questions.
Okay. One thing to be aware of about this step that it makes it kind of important is that if you do not have your account linked, your shop cannot be found. This gives you visibility. So without this step being done, you'll be wondering, why am I not getting traffic? And it's because you don't get any visibility until you've connected your account to your shop. Great. Okay, cool. So let's go to the next step. Okay, so the next step is going to be adding the warehouse. So now TikTok shipping works great. You can just click print the label, etc. That is totally an option that you can do. However, sometimes if you're a larger company or whatever, you might have something built into your Shopify where it comes through a funnel using ShipStation or straight to your 3PL, however you guys want to do it. But it is very difficult to scale by printing one label per sale on TikTok. Usually you have an existing funnel already built into Shopify. And so what we need to do is essentially set up your warehouse. Now, I'm not going to give away his warehouse information, but I am going to show you where to set it up. So you want to come up here, go to my account, go to account settings, and you want to go to warehouse settings. In this place, you will basically add your address from where things will ship from, what states you're going to be doing shipping to, as well as you'll have a return address. This is the information that you would then put into here. And there is a setting that you need to make it so that the shipping is self-fulfilled instead of TikTok fulfilled. And in doing so, it'll then be linked to Shopify using the app that we're about to go over next. Do you have any questions or any input from anybody else at this time?
No questions.
Okay. All right. Well, we're crushing it. Okay. All right. So the next step. So whether you're using Shopify, using WooCommerce, you're using Magenta, there is an app or a solution for this. So now I'm not going to go over every app. I'm just going to go over the app that we use, that I recommend. And again, there's many right answers. And they probably solve a lot of the problems. But I'm going to tell you why I like this app specifically. So I'm going to go ahead and open it. And it's called Silk Commerce. So the reason that I like this, so the products have already been synced. Right now we're pre-revenue. The shop is just being set up. We're at the point where you should be at the end of the call if you followed along. But essentially, so what you want to do is you go to bulk action after you connected it to Shopify, and then you would pull products. And so essentially you would, let me log in. Okay. All right. So once you're logged in, of course, it timed out. You want to do bulk action, and you essentially pull products. So it's similar to like web design. So you're pulling and pushing to TikTok essentially. So you would basically take your active products, and then you would take a collection, and essentially this collection would then pull the products into this app so that you could then start to push them to TikTok. The reason that I like this app is it has a pre-verification that allows you to eliminate a lot of the issues you could have by just connecting products from Shopify to TikTok. So if you just take an app and you just push them to TikTok and they all get flagged, well, it's nice to have a step in between that kind of helps you eliminate some of those issues you could run into. So the products have already been pulled in here. So essentially what you could do is we come over here. And so like this one needs to be optimized. We come over here and we do something called a pre-validation. This pre-validation gives us information on what needs to be fixed. Okay, so this one, it fixed. Now keep in mind, it's not perfect. You're still battling with an AI. But if you think that it's bad with a pre-validation, you should try it without, as well as it can lead to a lot of issues. But essentially, most of these issues can be fixed by a few things. So for example, if you're here and you need to add like certifications, things like that, so you can add them here. Once you grab the certifications and then you upload them, then you can re-push to TikTok. Most of the time that fixes most of the issues are things like pictures of the label, SDS, COAs. There's a whole list of different things like that, but a picture of the product. They want to verify that what you're selling is what you say you're selling. Unfortunately, people are a little bit distrusting, and so basically they're looking out for their consumers on their platform. So pretty much the same as Amazon, same documents, just need to know where to put them and how to push to the platform.
So okay. Eric, would TikTok ask you for the document that they need, or you just have to send them all the documents as much as possible and then hope that they accept one of them or all of them to activate this?
Yeah, interesting question. So I'm assuming that most of you guys are Amazon sellers, so that I know that you guys are no strangers to account health, and you know that the issues are very vague, and they'll say something like your product was taken down because it violated blah 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 blah. So essentially, with uh, a little bit of experience on the platform, you've kind of come to learn the certain documents that they require, which is typically an SDS, maybe a picture of the product, things like that, showing the front, the sides, the backs, whatever, something like that. It's pretty much the same on TikTok, but keep in mind, same as Amazon, you're going to get flagged by an AI. So you're basically just dealing with a computer. So these are the documents that now each category might be different as well. If we have enough time, which I think that I'm going pretty fast, so I think we actually might do pretty good. We're going to go into prohibited products, what's required for each category, things like that. And keep in mind, right now we're working in the this is the pet space, so this is specific to that. But it's prompting us for these documents, and we're pushing it to the platform. This gives us the best chance for an approved product. Now, keep in mind that it still might get disapproved, and you still might have to argue with TikTok, but it does, in my opinion, work about 80% of the time versus some of the other apps.
So I'd like to know, out of the 17 attendings here, who already has their Amazon, their TikTok shop approved, and how many hasn't gotten it approved or started the application? Because
That's
what
a good
I've seen,
question.
most of the TikTok clients that we get, I would say 80% of them are having trouble with their setting up their opening their TikTok and getting it approved. And I remember the last one, last client that we got, they were trying to get some product. They got their store approved, their shop, but not their products, and they tried for months and months. As soon as we took over, within 24 hours later, we had the products approved. It's just knowing what to submit, how to submit it, and yeah. So we have okay. So Gina says hers is live. What about the rest of you guys? If you want to just pause here, Eric, you can continue while they respond. But I'm curious to find out. Delaine says, we're just getting started, haven't started a shop yet. Okay, well, this is a perfect webinar for you.
Yep.
Awesome.
One thing that I would add is something that you talked about at the beginning, which is the amount of Amazon experience that we have. Me, Drew, Michael, Brian, Ryan, we're all experts in handling account health on Amazon. So kind of doing TikTok kind of follows the same sort of documents and criteria. And so we kind of already have an idea what is needed, but this app specifically prompts you and kind of guides you in the direction. And so it does make it a bit easier.
Okay, now someone just posted a question, which is a sample that I see often, right? She says, I was rejected by baby and maternity category. It said that my test report was older than 1 year, but it was from January 2024. What do you suggest there, Eric?
Absolutely. So again, I imagine that you guys are all also Amazon sellers. TikTok customer service and ticketing system is just a bit worse than Amazon. So again, you have to be a little bit repetitious. You have to make a ticket. You have to get it. You have to push the point to get it so that a real person looks at it and verifies the date, because that is an obvious oversight by their AI. You have to also know that TikTok is growing so fast that they are having huge growing pains. So don't be don't lose faith. Know that your documents are right, and can make a ticket and see it through. Maybe add some supporting documents, maybe add a few different things, maybe zoom in on that little section and write there and say, hey, maybe you like, there's no need to be necessarily rude because you weren't actually talking to a person. You just basically want to say, hey, on this document it says this January blah 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 blah, and per your terms of service, it says that it needs to be within the last year. I believe this meets your requirements. Please verify, or something to that effect.
Okay, great. Thank you, Eric. And what about, is there a way to get into the invite-only categories? Gina is in the pet space too, and her top sellers are supplements, so they are not listed.
Okay. Absolutely. So I actually have that coming up. if you would like, we can take a look at that section real quick. I'll just jump over there and then we can take a look. So, okay. Okay, so here's the category requirements. So you said pet, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Um, I don't see it on this reference, but let me see. Give me 1 second. I will try to find this. Let me continue going. I'll see if I can answer this question for you by the end, and see if somebody can help me find this article so that we don't stop our momentum, and we
By
can
the
circle
way,
back to this at the end.
if someone has a question that it takes a little longer to answer or to figure out, at the end I'll be sharing a QR code, and you can schedule a one-on-one, a free consultation, and we can give you more information on that. So I'll be sharing the link to book a call and also a QR code at the end.
Wonderful. So the next step, so keep in mind, we are going to get back to the category, and I'm going to, somebody on the team or somebody, we're going to try to find this article by the end, and we'll do our part. We do have about 20 more minutes, so there's some things we want to cover. The next thing is review syndication. So what is review syndication? This is something you can do on Walmart and other platforms, and you can also do it on TikTok. Now, the program software that they use that's in beta is called Yotpo. Yotpo works with pretty much every review app that you could have. So whether you're using Shopify, WooCommerce, Magenta, you're most likely going to be using one of these apps. And so you need to create an account on Yotpo. And this will give you the ability to import reviews. As you can see here, that we've already imported 3.4 thousand. And so if you're a brand new shop and you're getting started, starting with 3,400 reviews definitely gives you a boost, as you know, probably selling on other platforms, how long it took to get that. So this app allows you to import them. So we go over to here, click reviews, and then we can go to settings. And in so there's one that says import reviews. Now, what you need to do is you have to, you go to the review app, regardless of your platform, and you need to do an export. So for example, if you click select provider, they've got pretty much all of the most popular apps. A lot of people use judge.me. Some people use Junip, Lokes, Stamped, whatever. You need to export it, and then you can import it. Now, some people like to use the Yotpo app on the Shopify. I have found that typically can error out and create an issue and make it seem like it's not working. So I highly recommend to log into Yotpo through a browser, and when in doing so, it works perfectly. And then you can push it to TikTok. So you essentially, let's say it was judge.me, you would just go down here, and this is basically, it gives you instructions as well, but it kind of tells you, it basically tells Yotpo the format of the reviews they should be expecting so that they can import it correctly into their system. So pretty straightforward. Any questions on this part?
No questions.
Okay. Okay, cool. Now, the next step that you want to do is you would want to go to integrations, which is down here at the bottom. And you want to authorize TikTok. Now, we are already connected, but you would essentially just search through here, type in TikTok, and this essentially would, you would connect it to your play. It would actually take you to TikTok, take you through an authorization step, and that essentially is how that would be connected. Anybody have any feedback? Okay, so the next step essentially is you'd go to products, you'd go to product rating, and if you have not imported the reviews, they would say something, use third-party software. In this case, they are already have been connected. We just connected this not too long ago. You go to imported reviews, and in this step, you have to link each product from Shopify to TikTok. So sometimes what happens is the GTIN, the UPC, the EAN, whatever identifier you're using isn't linked. And so in this step, you need to go in here and you need to go here and basically tell TikTok that this product has this UPC, which correlates with the reviews that we're going to be importing. Now, I know that you guys are getting excited in this step because it is exciting, but I do want you to know that this is beta, and this process it's a trickle. It probably going to happen over the course of 6 weeks, or maybe longer. They are going through some growing pains, so do not expect that it's going to be overnight. I do want to make sure to say that. However, 3,000 to 4,000 reviews, which typically on Amazon, the review rate is roughly 2%, 1.5, something to that effect. You will know that 3,000 reviews is a lot of sales. So, so taking advantage of that is definitely in your best interest. Any questions so far?
I don't know if you answered that. Someone says, can you import Amazon reviews?
So now that is probably what would refer to as a hack. However, can it be done? I am a big believer that it can. And basically how you would do it is you want to import them to Shopify into one of these review apps, and then you want to import from that app into TikTok. So again, step one, go onto Shopify app and say, import Amazon apps, import Amazon reviews to Shopify. It will then give you an app, which you then can import. There are many out there, and then you essentially want to make sure that it's integrated with one of the platforms that are on the that I listed in the previous step, and then you want to move them over. So again, remember that it has to be one of these things now, but also keep in mind they also had an option of other. So and oh yeah, this is one thing that I want to show up. When you're importing, sometimes you'll get to a point where some of them didn't import. Just click cancel or refresh, and it will get the 3,400, which is easily 85, 90%. So, but they do have other. If you do use other, make sure you download the template and just doctor it to match the correct specifications so that you can import your reviews. Yes, that's a hack, and yes, it can be done. Any other questions?
We're good for now.
Awesome. Okay. Cool. All right, cool. So the next thing we're going to go on is setting up your shop. Now, so the shop is on the right. I'm not even going to attempt to try to pull my cell phone out, so don't worry. This is a representation of the shop. And right here, you can see we have our logo. You can see we have a header image. And then we have the things that make up a shop. And so basically, we have a flash sale. We have some featured products, top products, new releases, etc. And how you want to set this up is you would go to Marketing, Shop Page. You come in here, and when you're in here, you'll notice that you probably have just the logo filled out, because that's literally the only step we did up to this point. Now, the next step would be the header image, the product collections, and the category. Now, we have not set up the categories on this particular brand yet, and we may not. Sometimes your products doesn't have a lot of categories. Sometimes that might not be a feature you want to use, but it is an option. So you'd go in here and you click Edit. Okay, cool. So this is a really cool thing that I really think is pretty powerful in setting up your store, which gives you the ability to drag and drop and really make your store kind of have the right branding, the right feel, as well as to showcase the correct product. So at the top, we have our header image, which is great. It looks fantastic. You have two tabs. You have a home and a products. Again, this is your shop page. And then you have the ability we did a flash sale here. In the flash sale, you can do highest discount, newest first. You have these various options, and the products are auto-populated, which is pretty cool. You can do a single image like that. You could do something like a carousel, which is cool, which basically is a slideshow. You can do a multi-click image, which is cool, kind of makes it so that you have like hotspots, things like that. Multi-image. It's very intuitive. It's drag and drop. It doesn't require any sort of coding. It just requires you to say, hey, what represents my brand the best? Which products would I like to feature, and how would I like to do that? So, and these are all the various options, and depending upon how many products you have, you can make it as wild or as simple as you like. Any questions at this part?
So clear.
Okay. I find this to be very cool, because when somebody comes to your shop, I mean, most of your sales, to be honest, are going to be from creators and influencers, and that's typically what separates TikTok from other platforms. However, when you do get branded search, or people do arrive at your shop, it is important that you kind of make sure that your branding is on point and puts your best foot forward, so that you can also convert with branded search. Okay, great. All right. Okay, so the next step that I was going to go over is restricted products, category restrictions. Great. Before we get into that, there's just one thing I'm going to mention, which is called account health. It's very similar on Amazon, but it is something to be aware of. You have health on your shop as well as on your TikTok. Now, I do think that it is important to understand this. So right now we're healthy. There's no violations. But if you get 24 violations that are unappealed, your account will be permanently banned. So if you get an appeal or if you get a violation for saying something about weight loss in your video or saying that this product cures cancer or something like that, you're probably going to get a violation. And so now they give you 14 days to appeal this. And with certain violation milestones, you actually take hits to your account in the sense of visibility and different restrictions. And once you get to 24, your shop has 24 as well as your TikTok. And this is where you would see them. And this is where you would also appeal them. So you have 14 days and then they come off your account after 6 months, which can be a very long 6 months. Now, milestone enforcements is right here. This is not something to take lightly. So make sure to appeal within 14 days. Handle it quickly. Yeah, any questions at this point?
I don't see any questions.
Okay. Okay, cool. So now we're getting to the section that has, well, we'll do a little bit of Q&A, but we're going to go through restricted products, category restrictions, and I would like to see if possible, if possible, someone could help me find that pet information so we can go over that. But I'm going to start with the products that have issues. So let's start with the products. So here is a prohibited products policy that goes over the various things that are not allowed. This isn't good to know because this actually protects you from what you can sell. So if your product isn't on this list, this is a good opportunity to highlight what they have said and tell them, hey, my product is not this. This is the document that verifies this. Please, please remove my violation. It is important to know this because this is actually what protects you, not what is against you. You need to know their policy so that you can navigate TikTok safely. And just like Amazon, you will get flagged by account health from an AI, and they may or may not have even looked at your product. There might have been just a word or something in a picture or something that just got it flagged. So do learn this. This is here to protect you. Now, if your product is one of these things, well, also, I mean, that's good to know, and you probably shouldn't even try to attempt to go down that avenue. So, for example, adult products. This is prohibited. There is no certifications, so that is a no-no. Next one, alcohol, tobacco, or e-cigs. So again, this is a no-no. So if your brand sells this, it's okay on Amazon. Well, TikTok isn't the correct marketing channel for you. Animal related products, and protected wildlife and plants. Certain animal related products, protected wildlife and plants are prohibited from sale on TikTok. So again, they don't want you selling dogs. They don't want you selling like it's not an animal shelter. Okay. Endangered species, like selling their fur. They don't want to make this where you're selling rhino horns and kind of make it a like a kind of an illegal place to barter goods. Aquatic resources under prohibition for exploitation. Again, these are all protecting things that we all love and respect. And so I agree very much with what they're saying here. Items containing plant or wildlife species protected by regional laws, sure. Varieties of plants barred by law, sure. Something that jeopardizes the human well-being. You know what? I kind of agree with that. I think that that's probably pretty good. Now, animal grooming supplies such as grooming scissors, deodorizers, and colognes. Now, that's an interesting one. I don't necessarily agree with that one. So that's something that you might not be able to do. I would definitely make a ticket. I would speak to their chat, but you might be an uphill battle the whole way. So again, knowing this document can save you a lot of time and hiring an agency. Like if you have an agency and you're selling all animal deodorizing products, well, you might have just wasted all that money for nothing because it clearly dictates in the prohibited policy that it is a no-go. And keep in mind, it says such as grooming scissors. It is vague, just like Amazon. It is vague. So it says such as, meaning that there is more things than these three. So do keep that in mind. Medicine, vaccines, drugs specifically designed for veterinary use, medicated animal and pet feed that requires prescription. Okay. Cross-border sellers are prohibited from selling pet food, including pet trees, TikTok. Okay. All right. So then we got baby and maternity products. So again, I highly recommend to go to the TikTok Shop Academy and search for prohibited products policy. And you can go to the area that most interests you. Well, let me ask you, you guys have any products or categories that you guys would like us to go over?
Did put, I don't know if everyone saw it in the chat, the pet food and pet supplements, particularly documentation and list of things that you'll need to ungate that category. But I have the page open if everyone wants to see it, the person to pet category.
Awesome. Let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen. All right. Thank you, Michael.
Pet specifically. Now, the menu is very useful, by the way. You can also just use the menu to navigate which category. I just did a search, but it pulls up the menu. Pet food. This is very simple. This is a list of images with all labeling all sides. And these are examples of it. And pet supplements down here. A lot more documentation is needed for special, vitamin type, allergy type pet chews. Here are everything you will need.
That's great. Yeah. So one thing that Michael is showing you that's fantastic is the reason I wasn't finding is it wasn't on a category level; it was on a product specific. So that was a great great find. Thank you, Michael.
A lot of times it's very simple. If I have any questions on TikTok Shop, you can just do a quick Google TikTok seller or TikTok Shop restricted products categories, and you can type in your specific product, and usually you can find the page relatively quickly that way. That's actually how I found this one originally. But if ever I need to know more information, I just Google it, and I can generally find it. Sometimes I do a little more digging, but it makes it pretty straightforward.
So Michael, Gina is saying that she does have that documentation, but there's no way to send it until you have the invite.
Until you have the invite for those specific products. So yeah, it's in the back end. It's hard to know, like if when they try to list it, what exactly happened, what was the process, what documents did they request or submit, and so on and so forth. So if there is certain categories that are invite only, like pet supplements, pet vitamins, and so on and so forth, and it's not allowing you to even list them in general, it's hard to know without seeing what's going on in the back end of what's because it's technically it's an open category for some people, and if they're saying there's a restriction on it, you have to kind of like see what is the restriction.
Yeah, one thing that I would add to that, which is incredibly interesting, is that TikTok is growing so fast that it is also having incredible growing pains, and it's changing. So for example, while Michael was talking, I Googled it and it said invite only products categories. And when you clicked on the link, they had actually already it turned into a 404 page. So they had already taken it down and are obviously making some adjustments. A lot of these things are changing in real time. And what we're talking about today might be different in 3 months because it's growing that fast. So I definitely know that you definitely need to use the power of the ticket system. It is definitely good to have an agency and somebody that knows how to file tickets and how to handle account health and to navigate those sort of things. And so that's what I would recommend. Yeah. Any other questions?
I don't see any new questions.
Okay. Let me see if I can find one more invite only and see if it doesn't go to a 404 page, which is, yeah. Both of those articles have been removed from the Academy, which is interesting. I'll just go ahead and share my screen just so that you guys can see what I'm looking at. So can you see my screen? So I went here and I basically said category invite by product TikTok. It says invite only products. You come here and you start to see the article and start to be able to add value and give you information, and it literally disappears. So they are actively changing this, and so they might be improving it or making it worse, but right now the documentation has been scrubbed from the Academy. So at this time, it's hard to give you an answer. The only way that I would get an answer is through the ticket system and through persistence. Yeah.
Yeah, Gina is saying that she usually uses the incognito window. And
okay, let's give it a try.
Let's try it out.
Okay. I tried the same link in incognito and got the same result. Yeah, so I tried the same and I got the same result. I have learned that TikTok is growing so fast. So, for example, there's many different things that I have noticed that are also changing. So, for example, let's say you have an account that has 17 violations and something like that. There is something in the academy that does say you can have 5 shops per EIN, but but then the more you look into it, sometimes you'll find contradicting data and different things. Remember, this platform is growing so fast. And the biggest issue with setting up the shop is that it's Frankenstein. So like you have to connect the shop to the account. You have to your marketing is at a different link. And so you have to use like a business center that kind of connects it all. So it's very Frankenstein, and it's definitely made a lot more difficult than it should be. But I believe that the reason for that is that it grew faster than it initially anticipated, and so it's basically one big Frankenstein puzzle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it makes it, it's an even playing field because all of
Everybody.
your competitors are having the same struggle, right? It's just about who can learn faster and who can stay up to date with the latest and the newest ways of getting products out and approved and promoted and so on and so forth.
And even
Yeah.
in regards
Yeah.
to a rejection, like, even when we first started selling on Amazon, it's the same way. Sometimes if you want to get ungated for a category on Amazon, you went through 10 rejections before the 10th was submitted with the same documents that you submitted over and over and over again. And so it was just a random lottery ticket approval. I mean, just even the courses that we did back then for Amazon were just keep reapplying. And it's very similar. What I noticed on TikTok, a lot of like the applications that I'll do for a new product or for ungating a product and getting it approved, or for a brand, it'll get rejected 3 times before it gets accepted. And yeah, and like even like Eric said, is showing the documents in different ways. Zooming in on dates. There's different ways. So like if you first submitted a different way the next time, it's going to be basically the same type of submission, and you might have to just slightly alter the wording or zoom in on the document, make it more clear or legible. Sometimes if you even have a document they submit that is slightly illegible, and I mean like it was a scanned document or the file size was too small, they won't tell you those reasons, that literally the file size was too small, therefore their AI couldn't read through it, and therefore you're rejected, and they'll never tell you why. So that's why sometimes when I just do a submission, I will resubmit, and I'll try to make higher, more legible documents. I'll try to zoom in on certain things. Oh, and applies to Amazon, same way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One thing that I would want to say before we get to the final part is that this is the intro, getting your shop set. This is a 2-part. The next webinar, which has the date has not been announced, is going to be way more exciting, where we're going to get into what is it going to take to make my shop successful, which comes into the harnessing the power of the creators, because that's the one thing that TikTok did that was different than any other platform. Was Instagram, you had affiliate links, you had different things, they were starting to show the trend, but TikTok built it into the foundation of their whole business model, and Amazon is starting to follow. So again, the next one's going to be about marketing, advertising, and harnessing the power of the creators. That one is definitely going to be way more exciting, because that's where the money is made and the success is seen. So just wanted to leave that teaser there, and Ernesto will probably send out an email to everybody letting you know. So please make sure to come back and see the second part.
Yes, we're going to be having it in the next few weeks. We don't have a date yet, but I'm estimating in about 3 weeks we'll have part 2. Good. So I'm going to go over an offer that we have, and we normally don't do offers on these webinars because we get more than enough clients just out of referrals. That's how new clients come to us. But with this newer service that we're doing with TikTok, and such a hot subject, and all of our 4 teams are very prepared to take on clients, we have here, I'll go ahead and share my screen, and then I'll share a QR code so you can book a call. Are you able to see my screen? Can you see my screen? Yeah, good.
We can see it.
So this is our normal pricing. If you need help setting up your TikTok, we do it for flat fee, $1,500. Getting your listings approved up to 25 products, one-time fee of $1,500. We also have our Creator Partnership Accelerator program, where we find influencers that are a good fit for your brand, and we go out and work with 100 different influencers every month. This is a retainer, monthly retainer, $24.97. And then we can also run TikTok ads for $29.97. But the webinar special, and we can only take on 20 clients at this rate. Each of our teams can take five additional clients, but you get it all for $29.99 a month. It's a retainer. You pay $3,000 a month and you get the whole team, whether you need to start from creating your store, creating your listings, working with creators, or the TikTok ads, or get it all. Whatever it is $29.99, and you get a, this is a month-to-month, by the way, no long-term contract. And if you want to find out more about it, you can just scan this. I'll leave it here for a couple of minutes. You can just scan it and book a call with one of our experts. No commitment. You can just find out what else we do with TikTok, or even if you're interested in Amazon management or Meta or Google Ads, website SEO, whatever it is, we'll be more than happy to talk to you. Michael, I wanted to ask you, we got 5 minutes left, but I wanted to ask you, what are some of the main issues that you see with our TikTok clients, and some tips and tricks for the guys out there running their TikTok?
Sure. So main issues I see are, I think Eric covered it very well, is the setups. I actually have never, even with a fully established, quote unquote, set up TikTok shop, it's not set up, so that is, I think, first and foremost, getting, like what Eric just went through, the value of that is unbelievable. Like that's what setting everything up, linking it properly, and linking your reviews, and getting your established shop, and so like it's kind of like on Amazon, if you list your product, or if you look on Shopify, list your product with one photo, or it's not listed properly with no reviews, or so no one wants to buy that. So the first step is like, it's kind of like building a store. You build the store, right? And otherwise no one's going to shop at an empty pre-construction store, right? So first build it. The next step is, I think a lot of sellers make this mistake of, there's two ways to look at this. Now, of course, your brand has a TikTok that connects to the TikTok shop. Now, here's the caveat of the way that TikTok set this up. Because you own a brand, you are not eligible, you're not allowed to do certain things that a regular creator account can. For instance, you can't use trending sounds or copyrighted music on a branded TikTok. Note that the algorithm and the way that it picks up videos based on trends, for example, when you use a trending sound, that's part of the algorithm, right? So if you put on some trending music from some artist on your personal account, where you can't really do that on a branded account because it's copyright. You're a brand, you can't use that. So there's definitely something, if you were to create your own content first. So a lot of brands go and they come to me and they go, I want to create my own viral content. I'm like, good, don't do it on your branded TikTok. The branded TikTok where you have your brand is more of a, it's good to post videos, it's good to post content, and that is definitely going to be a how to use type content. It's going to be educational, it's going to be PR, it's going to be et cetera, et cetera. It's not very common unless you're already viral as a brand. You're not going to, those videos generally don't get a lot of traction. Now, if you have a face behind your brand, if you have your own private personal TikTok that you're also using to promote your products, and you can use trending sounds on it, right? You can show those to your TikTok products on that too. So there's a lot of benefit in having two TikTok accounts for that reason, branded and personal. The other aspect of it is when you are getting creators, it's not from what I've seen, it's sort of like a slot machine. You're not going to have luck by reaching out to 10 creators and going, I reached out to 10 creators and you got 10 videos made, or you actually got 10 collaborators working with you. It's a very much so a numbers game, right? Think of the creators aspect as like advertising, right? You could put up a single little campaign in Google or Amazon and with 3 keywords in it, and you're not going to go viral, right? You're not going to get a lot of traction. So it's a numbers game. the biggest brands that are doing 100 million a year with using TikTok as part of their success are doing 2,000, working with 2,000 creators a month.
Wow.
Right? So it is, and you see that the higher the higher the number of creators you're working with, the more traction you're going to get everywhere. And don't get discouraged. Like I've done campaigns where I've worked with 200 creators at a time, and I got no traction. You know, and then it was the 210th that got me traction. Right? So don't be discouraged by you work with 100 creators and it went nowhere and then you give up. Right? The only way that you're going to guarantee failure in the future, or if you've already tried to do it down this road, is if you give up. Right? So you will not sell. But it's going to be like my experience is, again, the 210th creator I worked with, I got 4.3 million views on their video. Right. So the rest got, like, I got a couple that had, 10,000 or 20,000, whatever, but I just persisted until I got my creator. So those are the, I guess, two main tips of, if you want this thing to go, set it up correctly, have a good store, and then just go and fail until you succeed, basically.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Great. Well, time is up. If anybody has any final questions, you can ask now. Otherwise, Eric, do you have any final announcement?
Sure. I just got one thing I wanted to show that kind of just shows how hot TikTok is. And like Michael was saying, it's about content. And typically the reason a brand fails is the underestimation of effort, which basically means not making enough content, as well as making content in a cadence that allows you to get momentum. So this brand right here is easily $100 million brand. And how hot TikTok is, this is how much they're investing in. They're giving away cars. They're giving away MacBooks. This is how hot it is because they see the upside to TikTok. And that's why you're on this webinar, is because it is hot. And the one thing that nobody talked about is the X factor of what happens to your brand on Amazon or D2C. And that's when it really gets exciting. So when you go viral on TikTok, what happens is your branded search on Amazon goes through the roof because now you got people looking for you. So I just wanted to show you just another thing about why TikTok is hot and what the big brands are doing to invest in this, because people are saying that TikTok is like Amazon in 2012, which I know that every one of us on the call, including myself, which I started in 2012. So this gives us an opportunity to do TikTok when we should start, and this is the time. So that was the only thing that I would add.
Beautiful. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for attending. I'll be sending out an email with the next webinar part 2, and I hope you got some good value. Have a great rest of your day.